Yeah. Yeah. You're now tuned into the one and only place where you can get what's needed on your plate along with what's going on in your hood. Candy Lady's gonna keep you up to date with events going on round your way. What's really good? SC by Black locally. Keep them dollars circulating in your own community. It's the SCBBL show. You're now tuned into the SCBBL show. Rock on. Rock on.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the SCBBL show. We are in the last week of July, and I am here with the honorable, the wonderful, the lovely Apostle Cleo Pringle, who just happens to be my mom.
Much blessings, peace and blessings. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. We got a little bit of a
How are you doing?
Doing great. It went out a little bit there.
Oh, okay.
All right, but I can hear you now.
All right. So, Mrs. Cleo Pringle,
yes,
tell the people a little bit about who Cleo is. A lot of people already know you from your MCing days, your inspirational singing days, your substitute teaching days, your bus driving days, childcare days, and the list goes on and on and on.
Well, you just did it. I don't need to. I'm just a little girl born in Jersey City, raised in Cross, South Carolina. The daughter of Annie Mae and Harry Rollinson, or Leo Rollinson Sr., the wife of Ronald Pringle, the mother of Candace, Anita, and Rhonda, grandmother of Carmen, along with my other bonus children, grandchildren, my daughter-in-laws. And I'm just grateful for all the experiences that I've had and still growing.
Yes.
My daycare years was beautiful. I enjoyed it. My retail years was great. In the stores and, selling stuff. So I've always had an entrepreneur mind, and looked like all that just trickled down to my children.
Yep.
What I didn't do, you guys are doing it big and bigger.
So people always ask what started us on our entrepreneur journey. And I always tell them that it was you and my dad from, of course, you doing the stores together, like hustling clothes out of your trunks in the neighborhoods, then on to the store and Cross.
Yep.
And then for us begging to have like the storefront in our front yard, and Daddy building it from scratch. So after church every Sunday, people would come to our little store in the yard and get their snacks and stuff. And then, he went on to do his trucking, and it just always continued to go on and on. We tried one thing. If it worked, great. If it didn't work, you went on to the next thing.
And, it took me a minute to even realize that we were in a trucking business. Like, he's driving truck. Oh, we got our own truck. Oh,
right.
We're still entrepreneuring. It didn't kick in right away, but it came afterwards.
And then not only that, not only learning, having your own business, but also the failures from those businesses is really taught us a lot of like the do's and the don'ts. So if you want to do something, make sure that you have everything, lined up so that you can have a successful shot at owning a business.
Right. Yeah. The difference with us is you guys kind of like strategic planned.
Mm-hmm.
And we just went and dived into it. Went from, I didn't intend to be a daycare owner. I came home to take care of my children. And when folks realized that I was home, they started asking me to babysit their children. And I was encouraged to start a daycare. So I tried it, home care, for a minute. And then the house got really crowded. So we decided to open up a daycare. And it was very successful. But in the midst of me doing the daycare, a friend of mine was selling clothes and didn't have any place to store her stuff. So I just started storing it in my daycare. Well, when people came, they saw the clothes and they were interested. So they started buying her clothes. Well, when she decided that she didn't want to do it anymore, I wanted to continue. So she just kind of sold me her clothes and I sold her clothes to other people. And it went from there.
Nice.
In the clothing. You know, we did that for a while, like you said, until, you know, it got to the point where when Ronald decided to go to school for trucking, I was left to take care of the house and the business. Well, you know, and I ended up closing the daycare because I was in my rebuilding year and it seemed like the clothing business was doing better, or I was more interested in the clothes. So I just kind of let the daycare close. I closed it down and focused my attention on the clothes.
Right.
And so with doing that, not realizing I was bringing in money from the daycare, which would be able to help me with my overhead at the store. So in closing the daycare, I didn't have the overhead money to pay for the store, because when you're dealing in a store, retail business, especially clothing, you have to make sure that you can keep up with the trend, keep up with the new styles. And we didn't have the money to keep up with the new styles. So when a new style came, I still had old style clothes and they would come look at it. But this same thing you had last week. Well, I didn't sell out, so I couldn't re-up, you know. I couldn't turn the money over because it wasn't coming in like that.
Right.
You know, so we've learned, ended up having to close that store. And like you said, started subbing at the school, and from subbing to driving bus, and, you know, just hanging in there for 13, 14 years with the bus driver.
Yeah.
You know.
So, and I think that even before we go any further with the business side of things, being that we're in the last week of July, you guys just celebrated a wedding anniversary of 35 years. 35
years. Yeah, we started out dating in high school in the year 1970. So that gives us about what? About 42 years.
Together, yep.
42 years together, 35 years married. You know, we've had our ups and downs, our smiles, our frowns, our ins, our outs. I don't like you today, you know, whatever. We, you know, going, but through it all, we've been friends. And in order to keep a good relationship or a successful relationship, you can't point the fingers at each other. You know, in our marriage, we've made a lot of business decisions that wasn't the right one, but we never said, if you didn't do so and so, this wouldn't happen. You know, we've gotten to the point where we looked at each other and just laugh. You know, like, so what are we going to do now? You don't have a job and I don't have one either.
Right.
Now, you know, so we've gotten down to the lowest, you know, where cars repossessed right in front of the children, and open up another store in a different area, and before you could get started good, you get robbed blind. You know, you don't have the clothing or the resource or the stuff that you were going to sell. It's all gone. And then you look out the window after you get to the place where you were robbed, and kids wearing your jacket, but you can't go up to them and say, you stole that out my store, because I didn't have any cameras up, you know, just thought it was a good area. So yeah, and the marriage has been wonderful, and, you know, we're still growing, and I'm just grateful that we have allowed each other to be themselves. You know, that's another part of being successful. When you allow your partner to be them and they allow you to be you, you look at some things and don't ever think you know that person, because you don't.
Right.
You know, we were young when we got married, so growth. You know, and you got to give them room to grow and look at each other and say, you know what, that person just made a human decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's the human side. Everything gonna be all right. You know, but that
know ourselves.
Huh?
We barely know ourselves to say that you know somebody better than they know themselves.
That's right. That'll never happen, you know. You're right. We're learning ourselves every day. You know, a lot of stuff I thought I'd never do, or places I thought I'd never be, or things I thought I'd never experience. Seems like all of it has come, and it has helped me to continue to grow. You know, and I understand what the scripture means now when it says grow in godliness. You know, it's one thing to quote scripture, but it's another thing to know what it means to grow in godliness.
Right. Yeah. And you are, Auntie's online. She said, so lovely. Ashila.
Auntie. Oh, that's my baby. Another one of my babies.
Yep. And speaking of that, like so many people know you from being like this holy roller, no nonsense. And we was outside of the classroom, you know, people was, you know, ready to say, you don't want me to call your mama. But now if somebody comes across you today, you might not be that same person that you were when they see you today.
Yeah.
Because life happens. So can you tell people a little bit more about where you are right now in the season of your life?
Well, in this season of my life, I think I've gone more from a holy roller, you know, not to say that I've gone away from all of my Christian teaching, but I'm more of a spiritual teacher. You know, back then I didn't know a whole lot about how to separate the flesh side or the religious side from the spiritual side. You know, I knew that there were some folks that as a Christian I didn't want to be like, but I didn't realize that there's a difference between religion and spirituality. And so, and being able to separate and learn that, you know, I kind of learned from my children in different areas when it comes down to spiritual, because I grew up just in the religious way. Don't cuss around me. You know, we ain't doing all this dancing. You need to be in this club. You don't need to party. You don't need to do this, blah, blah, blah. That was just me. And if you were to ask my mom, she would tell you that's just how I was. I got saved at the age of 12 years old. And I would go to camp. I came back home from camp with the Reformed Church. They come in there, they'd be dancing. And I used to love to dance. So they come in there, they'd be dancing. But something happened to me one time when I was there, you know, and it did something to my heart. And all I wanted to do was serve God. You know, I didn't want to hear the blues. That's what we would call it. I didn't want to hear the blues songs, and I just wanted to hear Christian music. So they would come in there and they'd have on their dancing music, and I would change the channel and not say a word. And then they would be coming around saying, "Who just changed that radio station?" Then they started calling me Mother Christian. You know, so you know, it just ended up that as I grew, I realized that it was okay to dance. And I realized that it was okay to listen to secular music. It was okay to do different things, but it took growth, because everything we did outside of church was a sin. You know, I mean, and that's what we were taught. Don't do this. You're going to hell. And so I was quick to put somebody in hell, you know, quick to tell them, you know, wonder why you ain't praising God like I praise him. You know, why you can't feel it like I feel it. You know, why you, what is it going to take for you to get there? You know, what's taking you so long? But as I grew, I realized that it's a daily walk, and that spiritual walk that I have now puts me in a better place with God than I was years ago. And that's because I knew how to tap into my true spiritual self from the inner standpoint instead of from the outer. We are so quick to fix up the flesh because we want people to look at us as if we fit in. You know, she's an apostle. I've had people say, you don't dress like an apostle. Well, I didn't know apostle had a certain way to dress. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would say. I ain't never heard this stuff before. Oh, you don't, you know, some folks, they have different churches where they wear the dolly on their head. And I would always tell them, you ain't got to never worry about me wearing a dolly on my head. My hair is my covering. You know, I didn't get it like that. And just different things, you know, you can't preach and you can't do this, to realize that in God, I didn't know how to say it then, but I can say now that in God, you know, there is no gender. So when people would say different things like that, it would get you a little leery, and you would try to figure out what are they talking about, where they're coming from, and why is the scripture in the Bible or whatever, to realize that at a certain point, Paul or whoever it was that was teaching was directing his questions or his letters to different problems that different areas had, whether it be Corinth or Thessalonica or Ephesus or wherever. They had problems that Paul was addressing. And so he would say certain things, and that would be sort of like the introduction of the problem, and then he would give the answer to the problem. So people took that and began to judge you for, or say you can't do this and you can't do that. But getting back to spiritual, when you look at it spiritually, each letter, each word, or each name has a meaning in the spiritual sense, and so it's not wrong what they said, but one of it is directed at the exoteric, which is outer, and the other is directed to the esoteric, which is inner. So you have an outer exoteric, which is flesh, and you have an inner esoteric, which is spirit. So being able to tap into my spiritual inner self helps me to have a closer connection with the kingdom that is on the inside of me. You see what I'm saying? So knowing how to reach the kingdom and bring in a satisfiedness, like you were saved and sanctified, but not satisfied. Not if anybody is there, you feel good on the outside, but after you leave the feeling good from the outside, you feel bad again. Well, I've gone past that, because I know how to, if it feels like I'm getting away from being high in the spirit, I can just tap back into my spiritual self, and begin to thank the anointing and the power for not just my eyes, but for my sight. Not just my ears, but for my hearing. Not my nose, but my smell. Not my tongue, but my taste. Not my feet, my hands, but my feeling. I didn't know all those things before. So my spiritual self keeps me calm.
You didn't need the keyboard strings to activate your Kundalini anymore, because your Kundalini was activated from just your knowing of what it is to be.
That's right. You don't have to act like you got the Holy Ghost. You have to know that you have it.
Yes.
You go from a becoming to a being.
Yes.
You go from a belief to a knowing. It just you sit there and I'm at awe, like, oh my God, what took me so long to get here? But I'm so grateful that each one teach one.
Yes.
So y'all were able to teach me.
Yep.
I didn't want to cross. No.
I was going to say that I think that it's cool that you and Dad allowed us to each be, because you can ask me, Nita, and Rhonda a question, and you're going to get a different version of that answer from each of the three of us. We might be somewhere along like parallel lines, but at the end of the day, you're going to get the Candace, the Anita, and the Rhonda version of whatever that thing is.
Exactly. And being able to allow you guys to be yourselves, we had in me being spiritual now is easy. It became easier for me to accept the lifestyles that you guys have chosen. A lot of my Christian friends have dismissed me as friend, or dismissed me as a fellowship partner, or however you would say it, because I won't silence y'all for the lifestyle that you chose. I've been told, it's okay for them to be that way. And when I say that way, be a part of the LGBT community. But if they are open with it, then you need to remove them from any type of office that they are holding in your church. And my answer to them, since now I know better, is I would never do that, because that would be judgmental. And the scripture says that in God, there is no gender. There is no male, no female. There is no bond, no free. There's no Jew. There is no Greek. because we are all one. We are spirit, and God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So your flesh experience is your business. You know, even though when I was teaching back in the day, and I would teach you just like what the Bible says, and it said that, you know, engaging in same-sex relationship was a sin or an abomination, or, you know, it was just wrong. But I had to go back and read the scripture again, where it didn't just list the effeminate relationship. It listed drinking, it listed adultery, it listed fornication, and all different types of stuff was in that same scripture, where you got the same type of punishment. And to realize that we as Christian, we pick out the LGBT community, and we focus on that, and we denounce that, and we leave the rest alone, you know. And we have preachers that's fornicating, committing adultery, being drunk, sniffing cocaine, smoking weed, you know, just doing lying, cheating, and stealing, doing all different types of stuff. But you overlook that and you say, oh, it was just an experience. Well, it's just an experience with everything. My marriage is an experience, you know, because that's a flesh thing.
Yep.
You know, we are experiencing what we want to experience in this flesh, and that's my business. You know, and so I had to realize that what you guys are doing, what your relationship is, what you've chosen is none of my business. That's yours, you know. So the same way I walk with you in your relationship where it was female, male, I might not have liked your choice then, but I allowed you to be. So when that was over, I didn't like your choice when you chose this type of relationship, but I allowed you to be, you know, and have become supportive in whatever your choice is. If you like it, you know what I say. I love it.
And I think that I can pick up there too. That I can only speak for myself. I don't identify with LGBTQ. I love my LGBTQ family, but I don't need a covering because I live my life unapologetically. I am who I am. When I was in the previous relationship, I just happened to choose to be with that being who happened to be a man. Now that I'm in the same-sex relationship, I just happen to choose the being who happens to be a woman. So it doesn't, every person, I think that the world should understand that every person who may decide a partner doesn't mean that they classify or feel like they need to adopt a title of it. You know, you have some people who are married to a man, but they refuse to call that man or that woman their husband or their wives because they feel like it's a limitation, that you feel like a wife should check off all these boxes. You feel like a husband should check off all these boxes. No, we partners. If today I want to wash, I don't feel like washing the dishes, you need to get in there and do it. If today you don't feel like taking out the trash, I need to get out there and do it. So some people choose to classify themselves as partners instead of being classified or stuck to husband and wife, you know, terminology in their relationship. So I think that it's just a lack of knowledge in general for people, because how can you call yourself somebody who has a big heart, who loves unconditionally, but you only love me if I fill these conditions? Like, as my daughter, you should be working on somebody's job. You shouldn't be self-employed, or you should somebody of this caliber, or you should have X amount of children, or you should have at least one child, whatever the circumstance is. How can you call yourself a person who's loving unconditionally when you're loving from conditions? And I think that that's what the lifestyles that we chose brought into our family, is that you really get to see that beyond your conditions, I still love you as a being.
Right.
And I think a lot of people have not gotten to that point yet.
And I feel like we were chosen to have this experience because of the love that I show, not just y'all, but everybody. And so when being in ministry, it was really hard, you know, because I knew backlash was going to come. But if this is where I am, and this is what the universe has chosen for me to experience, then I need to embrace it and see what it is I can learn from it. And what you said is very good. We are so used to giving everything a name. So when you give it a name or you give it a form, you limit it, you know.
Right.
And so to have that unlimited opportunity with my children has been a major blessing to me, you know, because like you said, and I learned this again in our studies, that gender and sexuality is two different things. You know, a person's gender is who they choose to love or who they choose to sleep with. And a person's sex is male or female, you know. And so a person's sexual preference is none of my business, you know. So if your sexual preference happened to be female or male or both, you know, what do you call it?
Bisexual.
Bisexual, trisexual, groupies, whatever your choice is. You don't need to tell me as a pastor, as an apostle. That's none of my business. And I shouldn't be asking you what your sexual preference is or assuming what your sexual preference is, because then I bring on more problems on myself. That's none of my business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if a person comes into the ministry and they have a gift to do whatever, be it music, finances, or whatever, you know, I'm not going to turn that person away, because that's who God sent to me.
Right.
And so in my ministry, regardless of the choices that my children have made, my children are my admins and my musicians and my media, you know, and all these different things, my financial assistants. And you mean to tell me I'm going to throw them out the door because I disagree with their sexual preference? You know, I had to be convicted in that area, because if the two commandments that Jesus gave was to love the Lord thy God with all your heart, soul, and your mind, and love your neighbor as you love yourself, how can I do that with outside people if I can't do it with my people?
Yep.
You know, and so
pastors, I say pastors go through that. Like the preacher's kids, those PKs are the worst ones. And I think that it's because in order for you to call yourself loving and leading a flock of people, they come in all shapes, all forms, all sizes.
Yeah.
And in order for you to be authentically loving them and guiding them with your best interests at heart, you have to love all of those people, not just like you love them because they're your deacon. You love them because they are your security. You love them because they're your musicians. You love them because it's the God-like thing to do.
Yeah, we're one. So that side of me that's not having that type of experience is still that side of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, my hands don't have the same experience that my foot is, but my hand and my foot are a part of the same body.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So every individual that comes in is another me at another time. So how can I discredit or put that person in the back, or say, all you can do is sit down, you can come to church, but I need to teach you something? No, let that person have their experience. And if they're in addition to your ministry, let them be in addition to your ministry, because whatever that person is going through, it might not be there for me at that particular time, but somebody else may come in that might be for. So if I put them out, or if I stop Candace and I stop Rhonda and I stop Anita and whoever else that may come that's going through the same thing, if I stop you from your experiences and I haven't had the experience, how am I going to help the people that come? You know, that ministry is not just for me as an apostle, but it's for me to learn and guide to the best of my ability. And where I can't learn and guide from, then I have folks that have had that experience that can help lead and guide, you know? And
Yep.
so.
And I think that we're always ahead of our time because we're moving into the age of transparency. With the generation that's coming up, you can't just feed them some garbage and expect for them to accept it. They're going to want to know more. You have to show me more. You have to teach me more. How can you explain something to me if you've never been through it? And with all of the, you know, suicides and stuff that happens is because people feel like I go to the church, but nobody understands me. They just tell me to pray. They just tell me to, you know, get around people who can pray for you and cover you. When in all actuality, you can barely cover yourself from some of these, you know, evil spirits that's out there. So when you are in need and you're really going through some of your situations or experiences, you need people who are going to be transparent with you about their life. Like, I know that I'm not the only one who loves God and who also just loves the person that I'm with. Yeah, you can't tell me that I'm wrong for loving God or that I can only love God if I check off these boxes, because he didn't do that to you when he woke you up this morning. He didn't say that you had to check off all these boxes in order for him to give you breath in your body. Yeah. So for you to say that to people, it makes people go insane. And a lot of times people who are bipolar, they're actually the ones who are like repeating the same scriptures over and over again. They're thinking in one kind of way because they feel like they should be at a certain point in their lives and they're not there yet. So they get stuck in like this trance, seems like, between trying to be doing the right thing and the limitations of life. And it's because people make them feel like something is wrong with them. Right. And in all actuality, you are who you are, whoever God created you to be. People should help other people learn to embrace, you know, who they are with flaws and all. And every day should be you working on you as an individual and not necessarily the choices that you make. It's like, who am I as an individual? Yeah. Am I okay with myself? Am I allowing myself to, you know, learn as I go? Or am I tearing myself down worse than, you know, somebody else would? Yeah. I think it's a lot with when it comes down to our Christianity, our spirituality. It's a growth thing. You know, a lot of stuff we don't know, and a lot of stuff we choose not to accept. We choose not to know because we've been taught this way, and ain't nobody gonna change me. But learning how to have your spiritual experience and learning how to allow the flesh to have its experience without going the wrong way. Because if you're led by your spirit, it's going to direct you. You know, God didn't put anything here and said, this is what you must do. He said, the scripture says, I set before you life and death, blessings and cursing. You choose. So who am I to say that what Candace has chosen is what God set before her? Or, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to choose what Cleo choose because God may not have set before me what he set before you. You see what I'm saying? Yep. We are all individuals that have our own experiences. And who am I to come and tell Candace she can't have that experience in her flesh? My job is to teach anybody that comes in my presence how to be in contact with the spirit that lives on the inside of them. My job is not to fix anybody's flesh. I can't fix my own flesh, but my spirit that's on the inside of me gives me that intuition, and I follow my gut feeling from what's on the inside of me, and therefore become, or be, not become, be who I already am. Right. So whatever everybody is doing is who they are, and whatever experience you have in your flesh is your business. You know, so other people who say that it's okay for you to be that way only if you're that way and nobody knows it. Yeah. Because that avatar is causing a lot of people to drive themselves crazy. Yeah. Is that how is it that some people can just live so purely, so holy, never go through any experiences. How can you tell me how to get out of the situation I'm in if you ain't never had no problems? You ain't never had no experiences outside of what people say you should have? Like,
yeah.
Help me when I'm at that crossroad of where should I go? What should I do? It's okay for you to sleep around as long as you ain't telling nobody you a hoe. It's okay for you to drink as long as you don't tell people that you're an alcoholic and you got problems. It's okay for you to do whatever it is, and if it's only you that knows that you're going through it. And I think that drives people to make even worse decisions. Or you see someone who's up here today, but over time you look at them throughout the years and they've gone all the way down. And you look at that person like, what happened to you? And I feel like a lot of times it's because the people that they're around didn't allow them to just be and try to help them where they were. They made them feel like they were always missing the mark. And over time, you could just see how they spirit down, and you see them when they were making you feel good by the song that they sing or how powerful they prayed. But because life happened and nobody was able to meet them where they were, it's like they just went down over time.
Yeah. It's a matter of, you can preach the house down, but as soon as you leave that church or go in that office, you're crying because you're not free. So what does it profit the man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul?
That's right.
So I'm at a place where I ain't trying to raise my voice for you to hear me. I'm not trying to get you to invite me to your church. I'm not trying to get you to like me. I'm just loving who I am. And I thank God that I've learned how to be, and I'm not trying to become. I'm not a crowd pleaser, and I am not a person that's trying to get in anybody's clique. I don't have to be with the popular preacher. I don't have to be with the popular songster or singer. I just am who I am. And I thank God for giving me a husband who just is who he is, and together we are enjoying life. We are enjoying our ministry and the folks at Love and Helping Hand Spiritual Center, enjoying those that's there, because the only people that are there are those that's able to allow people to be who they are, and if you're not there, it's because you like where you are, and I ain't mad at you, so we're just, just happy to be able to have a ministry where we are at peace and have learned how to eat, drink, and be merry.
That's right.
Dance a little, laugh a little, go swimming. I can remember not being able to put on a bathing suit. I was just so self-conscious. I wouldn't wear my arms out. I didn't wear my dress past my dress had to be past my knee, got to be almost down to my ankle. I can remember being that way, and so you give your mate the opportunity to look at somebody else's leg when you got legs that he can't see.
Right.
That's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm with him, then I've learned how to carry myself in that area while I'm with him. Let him enjoy looking at me instead of having to look at somebody else. Not to say he ain't gonna look. He's a man, he gonna look. If I'm a woman, and I see a handsome dude come, I'm gonna look. Well, he look right. And we can compliment those people in front of each other, not outside. Is she pretty? She is pretty.
Right.
Or whatever the case is. So it's a matter of allowing people to be, and allowing people to, don't put them in a box. Don't put yourself in a box. Don't allow anybody to cross your boundaries. Just be who you are. Be what you are. Embrace. Love the skin that you're in. Love the ministry that you have. Love the children that you have. I would be a fool to throw my kids away because Christianity don't like them. Well, if Christianity don't like my children, they don't like me neither. Then I can say bye to Christianity.
Right.
I don't have a problem with any religion or any spiritual business that you might have. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm just so grateful that Cleo learned how to meditate, that Cleo learned how to be non-judgmental, that Cleo learned how to be calm and loving, peaceful, joyful. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I learned that my ancestors are my angels. You know,
Right.
I'm glad I learned these different things that help me get to the place where I'm at right now.
You hear your grands in the
background? Being non-judgmental was one of the major things that I think I came across that, you know, I can say that I passed that test. And it's because of the lifestyle that each one of my children chose. And not saying that it was easy for me to accept, because it wasn't, you know. It was almost like a slap in the face. And I know I'm judged. I've been approached by, what are you teaching? You know, what made them do that? At one point, it wasn't no good. This time, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. It's not what I'm teaching. It's what they chose.
That's right.
It's not up to me to go and make them unchoose. That takes up too much energy. You know, me trying to live my children's life. Y'all can never say that I tried to live any one of your life. If you choose it, then I try my best to embrace whatever it is that you've chosen to do. Do I like everything y'all do?
Yeah.
No, but it's not my choice. It's yours, you know.
Nothing trips me out more than somebody saying, like, how did she let her children do what they did? Yeah. And it's like, at what point do you grow up? Exactly. At what point do you make your own choices? Does your mom choose the job that you work? Does she choose what car you drive? Does she choose where you live? Like, at what point do you honestly grow up and just live life according on your own terms? You know, like that is crazy when I hear other adult people who have adult children say, you know, how did you let your children do this? And you can't control anything. You know, there's kids who have children out, you know, before they get married or at a young age. And it's like, what did you teach them? I'm sure you taught them to probably hold themselves until they got married, but they still made a decision to go out there and try sex anyway and got, you know, pregnant and had to deal with that. Yeah. Are you going to throw them away and your legacy that comes behind that? Are you going to throw all of that away because they broke a rule? You know, like Granddaddy always say, if you ain't broke a cup, you broke a salsa. Like you did something. So at what point do you just let people be and you accept them where they are? And I think that that's the age we're in right now, is that you either gonna love me or you gonna hate me. You either gonna ride with me or you're not. Like, you know, it is what it is. And that's the age that we're in right now.
Exactly. And it's sad to see we're in that age. What it's sad to see that a lot of folks are covering up who they really are because they want to be accepted by a certain group of people. And that's okay if that's what you want, you know. But I encourage you to be yourself, because a lot of folks don't enjoy life, or don't realize that they can enjoy life, or could have done this and I could have done that, until they laying on their deathbed. I don't want anybody to have to lay on their deathbed and said, I wasn't happy because Pastor, you told me I couldn't do so and so and so. No, I want you to live your life. I want you to be free, make your own choices and live it to the best of your ability. But you have to know how to reach yourself, your spiritual, real self on the inside. This flesh right here is not the real you. Whatever you decide to have, whatever experience you have in this flesh is just an experience.
Right.
The spirit is being connected to the inner God you on the inside. You know, that's the real you. And I think every day of our lives, we'll be learning who we are through the spirit that lives on the inside of us. You have a God inside you. Luke chapter 17, verse 20 and 21, where you were searching for God. I sing the song, I've been searching, you know, for a long time, been trying to find peace of mind, not knowing that what I was trying to find was already present, you know. And that kingdom is, don't look for it from outside. It ain't gonna come. You know, the clothes that you buy is not enough. You know, the shoes that you wear is not enough. The house that you live in is not enough. You know, whatever it is that you are getting materialistically is not enough. But what you have spiritually is enough. And it lets you know that manifestation is so important. And it teaches you that what you're looking for is already there. You just can't see it because you got scales on your eyes. But when you really open your eyes, you realize when your spiritual eyes connects, you realize that thing was right there all that time, and I didn't see it. So it's not that what you're asking for is coming, it's that you are catching up with what's already there. Like you was far away from it because your flesh blocked you.
Right.
Because you were looking at it from your eye and not your sight.
Slow motion.
What? The cat down the road caught that.
Shout out to Infinite Waters.
Yes.
Godmother Julie said control comes from a place of fear, and that is so true.
Yeah.
You
and
feel
so
unknown.
Exactly. So when I realized that I was not chosen to be you guys as parents to control you, it made it better for me. I had to realize that y'all weren't mine. I was chosen to bring you up in the way I thought you should go. That's what scripture says. And the way they should go.
Right.
And so I did that to realize that now, even though I'm your mother, daddy is your father, y'all don't belong to me. You belong to a spirit, just like I belong to a spirit. We are all spiritual. We are all one. And so allowing you to live like you want to without control, we have a better relationship because you're not trying to control me as your mother, and I'm not trying to control you as my daughter. We have realized that we are all one in the spirit, and we've been chosen to be, I guess, partners to make some things happen so that others can see that it's possible.
Right.
What's impossible is possible.
Yeah.
I'm possible.
Possible. That's awesome.
I'm possible.
Godmother Julie also says you're searching for self. Like when you are in control, you're searching for self.
Yeah.
What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's embracing self.
Yes.
Don't run away from it. Embrace it. This is what I feel. Okay, let's go with that. Just being random, which y'all do all the time, just random. I'm just gonna do this today. That's like y'all take, your daddy's like that. He's very spontaneous. Let's do this today.
Right.
And I had to learn that's a good thing.
Yeah. Go with the flow. And speaking of going with the flow, at this point, everybody is out of the building. So how have you been handling that?
I didn't realize how good it could be. You got up, you're in a rush, you go to church, you got to go to Bible study, or you stay long. My Tuesdays were very long because, we have the school. And even when we didn't have the school, I drove bus. So whatever it is, whatever day my teaching, Bible study or whatever was on was a long day. So I'm up in the morning, I'm out all day long, and then I'm out all night long. And I get home about 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever. Got to get back up and go to work the next day. So I didn't get enough rest the day before. So, I'm on pins and needles or whatever the case is until I get the rest that I need. And then on Sundays, having like 2 and 3 and 4 services, like trying to reach them all because somebody's going to be mad if I don't come to this program, if I don't answer this, if I don't sing this song, if I don't do this, blah, 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 blah. And your voice, it almost comes like that. Because you're steady going. To realize that just being home and giving a word on Sunday mornings, not burning any gas, not trying to worry about, wonder why this person didn't come to church, wonder what happened to this person, and getting on the phone, having to call them. It's everything okay, and missed you today. Make sure you pay your tithe. Make sure we need your offering. We got to keep this building going, blah, 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 to now just being at peace and really living with your church on a daily basis is an awesome thing. It's a closer connection with the Christ within. You don't have to go in a building to connect with your Christ. Your Christ is alive all and every day.
Yes.
24/7,
And I think no matter what your profession is, like having the opportunity to just slow down, take inventory, what can I work on in this season to perfect whatever it is that you want to perfect? like it gave you that time to kind of like just dial it back and not feeling like you had to like meet the deadline of your duties on Sundays, meet the deadline of your book club Bible study on Tuesdays, meet the deadline of whatever else came throughout the week because somebody called you to be on a program. Right. Or whatever. You can just be, you know, right now and just like take one day at a time and kind of figure out where do I go from here? What do I work on next? Or just deal with it as it comes.
Yeah. Or decide that you don't have to do nothing.
Right.
You really don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. Just be prepared if you need to. You don't even have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Just live your life that when a question arises, you're able to answer them because you've activated the knowledge that you have. So that knowledge is no longer just knowledge, it turned into wisdom because you've had experience and you're able now to speak to that person from an experiential side instead of just the knowledgeable side.
Yeah. Godmother Julie said it's so good to see this duo mother-daughter. And hey, Tika, sister, friend.
Hey, Ju. Glad you're watching. Glad everybody's out there watching. And I know that what we're saying is very important, especially the part of when your children choose a mate, especially how Candace, Anita, and Rhonda have done. You know, me as a minister, an apostle, a pastor, whatever you want to call me, a spiritual teacher. It was one of those things. You tell me about the Bible. I carried my Bible morning, noon, and night.
Be ready for them Jehovah Witnesses come to the door.
Yeah, they knocked on that door. I'm gonna be ready for you. You know, and not only that, I was a studier. You know, I always studied. So I taught against same-sex marriage. I taught against same-sex relationship. You know, that was just something that a spiritual, a Christian person was supposed to teach, you know, and to learn now, all three of my kids have chosen that. Boy, how I'm going to handle this? What these people going to say about me? You know, how they going to look at us?
Y'all going to kill my husband.
Yeah. Kill your daddy, man. You know, and not that it wasn't hard for me too. But it was just the point of me learning that spirit is spirit. That which is done of the flesh is flesh. And that which is done of the spirit is spirit. You know, marvel not that I say unto you, ye must be born again. In what area? You know, and who got to be born again and from what? Me being born again meant my conscience had to wake up to the light and the life that was already there. And stop trying to experience so much of the flesh on the outside. I was already awake to the flesh, but I wasn't awake to the spirit.
Yes.
So when my conscience woke up to the spirit that lived on the inside of me, I realized that what they're doing is their business. They better go ahead and have fun.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The life that I have chosen, I'm happy with it. You know, I'm peaceful. I'm joyful with it. And what they choose, they have to be joyful and peaceful and happy with it. Stay calm and let this thing just go. Just let it go. Right through it. Let it go.
Right.
You know, and be real. And I'm grateful that you guys have been real with me. It wasn't easy, you know, but we're through it and we're still going through. But we know how to allow each other to be themselves. And that's what counts.
Yes, ma'am. So I think we covered that really good. Because Keisha said Cleo, and William Consuelo said, speak cousin.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Grateful for all of them that's watching, you know. You got to be real. You have to be transparent. Yes. You know, we got to tell it like it is. And I've always been that tell it like it is person, you know, from wherever I was coming from, you're going to know what I feel. You know, you're going to feel whatever it is I feel, you know. So learning how to not let anybody choose or change your atmosphere was a big thing for me. You know, I'm not
atmosphere.
Yeah, you set your own atmosphere, and if they don't like it, kick rocks. Deuces. I'm not mad at you, but you shouldn't be mad at me either. You know, like, Why
Let bygones be bygones. Like, as long as you, how do you say it? As long as you're living, you're not hurting anybody with the way that you're living.
Yeah.
Then, like you said, live your life and love it.
Yeah.
But the only time it should become a problem is if you're disturbing the peace, you're disturbing the community, you're hurting someone's family, or whatever it is. You know that's when you should be concerned about what somebody else's life is doing to you or somebody else around them.
Right.
Hey, Aunt Sally, she says she loves her family. Tika says that, can you give your take on forgiveness?
My take on forgiveness. Well, to forgive really helps the person who is forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
It's not helping the other person, it's helping the person who is doing the forgiving. It doesn't mean that if you forgive that person that you have to be with that person. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Forgiving a person doesn't mean that you go back into a relationship with that person because you've forgiven them. Mm-hmm. After you've forgiven them, you watch them. And if they are not changing as to what they ask you to forgive them for, then you choose not to be with that person or be with that or whatever. You don't have to deal with the person who you've forgiven, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
All right. Just because you forgave them don't mean y'all got to be best friends again. And forgiving means that to me, you are letting things go. You're clearing yourself to not allow what that person hurt you with to cause animosity or stress or strife or whatever on the inside of you. You are keeping a clear conscience. You're keeping a clear mind so that the spirit, the universe that lives on the inside of you can give you more information probably towards that person or that thing, instead of blocking it with, look what this person did to me.
Yeah.
Replace it with, tell me how I can get past what this person has done to me and I still love that person in spite of. I'm not going to be foolish to the point where I'm going to be with you again because I see that you haven't changed in that area. But I have learned from it and you've helped me to grow. So in spite of what's been done, I still love you. And I thank you for the experience. That's what forgiveness is to me,
You touched on what I was going to piggyback off of. Thank you for that experience, because certain things that you go through is to teach you something. And like you said, if you go through that experience and the person does not change, then, that's your opportunity to learn from that situation. But it doesn't mean that you have to continue to be in relationship with that person, whether it's a friendship or actual, partnership or whatever. It doesn't mean that you have to continue to be in a relationship with that person. It just means that, thank you for teaching me that, because I wouldn't have been able to see that if I wasn't so close up on the picture. I wouldn't have been able to get that if we weren't in a relationship with each other. But thank you for showing me that. Yeah. And now that it's your, once you bring it to that person's attention and they choose not to change, then that means that, okay, it's time for you to move forward. But now as you live life, like the certain things to look for when that kind of thing comes up again. And sometimes it's that you have to do something within yourself. It's not like, what I've realized is situations can change faces. Yeah. So you can be in a relationship with somebody and they did something and you let it go, and you get into a relationship with somebody else and they did that same thing that you did when you were with that person, and you just keep overriding it. That means that there's something within you that's not picking up on what's happening there, but it's trying to get you to another level.
Yeah. And we dismiss it, or we call that person an enemy, enemy. And I've learned that there is no enemy if you are at peace inner you. You know what I'm saying? If I'm at peace inside of me, then there is no enemy that can get in me.
Right.
See what I'm saying? There is no enemy that's approaching me. There's only people that's bringing experience to me. Even if, and I don't call myself a failure at anything that I've tried, I just have results. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a result of what happened when this happened. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if we get to that point where it's just a situation, this too really will pass.
Yeah.
And you look back at it and be like, it really wasn't that bad, or whatever the case is. So I hope I've answered that question about forgiveness for Tika.
Yeah, she says that it makes sense, and she struggles with it sometimes.
I think we all do.
Yeah, we do.
You know, it's a daily walk, and some things that people do hurt so bad that you wonder, should you forgive? You
right.
know, forgiving a person doesn't mean you're gonna forget what that person did.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you aware that that person is capable of doing things that's gonna hurt you to the core. So before I allow you to do that to me, let me just dismiss myself from that. You know, you don't have to continue to allow somebody to hurt you or to make you feel bad after you've already forgave them. You don't have to continue to put yourself in that position. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to keep forgiving them. No, you mean to do with it. I forgave you the first time. All is well. You're bringing that same thing back to me. You mean to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know? And so if it still bother you that bad, then you're not growing.
Yep.
And we haven't learned what we need to learn from that, you know. Yeah. So,
and I think a lot of times the confirmation that comes with knowing that the forgiveness is for you and not the other person is that sometimes you can forgive somebody and they don't care about your forgiveness. They don't care that you forgave them, so they continue to do the same thing over and over again. It's that I know now, I know better now, and that you're actually forgiving yourself for not catching it.
Exactly.
So I know better now. So, you know, thank you for showing me that. And I know better now. So I'm taking that and I'm going higher, you know, with that lesson.
Exactly. And you set the boundaries and say, oh no, not this time.
Yep.
They say, fool me one time, shame on me. Fool me 2 times, shame on me and you.
Yes.
Like that, you know, we have to know when and when not to. You say no. You say I don't like that. You say don't touch me like that. You say don't talk to me like that. You say don't lie to me. You know, I ain't putting up with that today now. That's up to you.
Yeah.
You have that right. You have that ability to do that.
Right.
You know?
Awesome. So I think we touched on a lot. The next thing that we're in right now is like just the homeschool phase. You know, people are faced with deciding whether they're going to homeschool or not. Can you tell people how that's been for you being the director of the homeschool co-op for the past 2 years at Love and Helping Hands?
Well, in the beginning it was trying, you know, didn't really know what we were going to get into. But it's been a blessing because you get to learn the children and what they put kids in special needs for. You realize that those people just learn on a different level, you know. And if they have all children have special needs, you know. They might be the smartest children in the world, but they might have a special need in socializing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They may have a special need in participating in activities. You know what I'm saying? And so being able to learn the children and where they are. Today they came to school and all they wanted to do was play. Let them play. You know? You got the whole year to finish this. If you don't want to go to the next grade, the next time we start homeschool, stay right there. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe there is something else that you need to learn in that area. You know, and so it's just a matter of knowing how to let children be while they're in homeschool. You give them a little bit of structure, but you have to teach them where they are. You know, you have to let them allow them to lounge. If today I want my shoes and my socks off because I feel comfortable, that's what I need to do. Go ahead. You know, today I want to learn outside. I want to lay on the grass. I want to sit down. I want to hold my foot up. I want to put my book on my lap and I want to learn like that in the sun. It's homeschool.
Right.
You know, it's not that you don't have structure because you still teach them, but children learn sometimes with their hands, sometimes with their eyes, sometimes with their mouth. You know, if you want to teach them about fruit, then just have a taste contest. Today we're going to have all green stuff. Tell me which one is a vegetable by tasting it and which one you think is a fruit. You know what I'm saying? Like different things like that. You can make it really a whole lot of fun.
Experiment.
Yeah. Let them experiment different things. So that's been our experience and just learning that children with that seem disabled are the smartest children ever.
Yeah.
Because they are authentic and they know how to create and they just know how to be themselves. And we're the one that's trying to make them become something that they already are.
Right.
You know, so we think something's wrong with them and they're looking at us like, ain't nothing wrong with me. You know, I just don't get it like that, you know. And it's not that their way is wrong. It's just you weren't used to it that way. So you want them to learn it your way. And that's probably not how they're going to get it. You know, right. So we learn every day how to just go with the flow. You know, some days we get there and we don't feel like teaching.
Right.
You know, so have at it. You want to go all the day? Bye. Go ahead. Have fun. I'm going to climb it with you.
Right.
You know, just one of the things. Being able to come up with our own motto, our own quotes and stuff, all that was a very good experience for us, you know. And so I just think it's an awesome thing that when the pandemic started, it didn't take us by surprise because we were already doing it. So we knew how to just continue to go smooth sailing, you know, be at peace. And the same work that you would have been doing if we were here as a group, you just continue doing it, but you're just doing it from home, you know, which is a good thing. You can lay across your bed, you can sit in your den, you can lay on your floor, whatever the case is, and do your work and be at peace with it.
Yep. Have you and the staff decided whether or not you're going to open up in the fall for the co-op again, or?
Well, from listening and talking to all the parents, even though they're saying that they need help, they still want to do it from home. Okay. So the only thing that I think we can do is every now and then have a virtual learning through Zoom or whatever, so that the kids can see each other and I guess participate together in certain subjects and choose a day that we want to bring them together to probably take them to the park or whatever the case is so that they can have fun in that area. But we still have to be careful because they're still requiring social distancing and they still want masks and stuff. And I just think it's so dangerous with the mask, you know, especially in school, because you got strings on the mask and kids, regardless of the age, we have children that chew on things, you know, and it's a growth thing, but it's just, they like to have stuff in their mouth, and it's how are we going to keep up with them washing their hand and with them putting on sanitizer. And now they're saying that the hand sanitizers, be aware because some of them are not good for you. And so it's just a matter of knowing what to do, when to do it, and how. And I don't think anybody have it all together yet.
Right.
You know,
that's a good point.
Yep. And so you bring in. Say it again.
No, go ahead. Finish your point.
Oh, I said you're bringing kids in, and every child is different. You know, so one child may want to crawl on the floor today, and the other child may want to run, and the other child, you know, and you want them to sit behind a plexiglass. I know I'm not going to do that in a homeschool. So, you know, I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, you're still telling people to stay away from the church. You're still telling people you only want 10 people in a room or 8 people in a room at a time. How? I don't, but you're not going to close the school down, and you're not going to close South Carolina down again. There'll be no more shutdown. Go ahead back like normal. But the numbers are rising with COVID. I don't understand what they're trying to do, but being wise as a director, I don't see us going back in the building this year.
Okay.
You know, that's me. If they come up later and said, hey, let's try it. If we have all the necessary stuff that we can spray it down, like I see them saying they're going to have this liquid stuff that they're going to spray the seats down and they're going to do all this stuff, that has to happen in the center.
Right.
And who's going to buy it? You know, people can barely afford to pay anything for home. We have a co-op, you know, so we come together, we got light bill, we have, you know, the internet, we have all these different things that we have to have hooked up so that the children can work in that area. And so who's to say with people losing their job that they're going to be able to even afford to participate in a co-op? You know what I'm saying? If they don't have the money, how
Yeah.
they gonna pay? You know, and
Right.
so working as a director,
Good
you
point.
know, it's good to have that if you're making money, but if you're not making the money, how you gonna pay for it? Well, that will be
Right.
running up and down the road for free. No gas
Yeah.
money, mouth white, can't even buy lunch. Yeah, we can't really afford to do that. And I don't know if the parents who were a part of the homeschool can afford to do it either.
Right.
We're here for support. And so whatever the parents decide, you know, I'm retired.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm available, but I'm not gonna put myself out there to cause myself to be in harm's way when it comes down to health. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So there it is, folks. Contact Apostle Cleo if you need some assistance or direction with homeschooling options. But the center at this time is not going to open in the fall. And as things might change or other solutions come about, then that might change, you know, as months go on. But as of right now, forecasting wise, the building won't be open in the fall, starting off.
Right.
Cool.
Unless the parents change their mind.
Right.
Unless they change their mind. But hit us up for some virtual learning if we can help in any way we're able, or we're willing to at least try. I'm not promising you that you're going to be satisfied with what I give, but I can try to help out in any way that I can. Thank you so much, Candace, for allowing me to be a part of your show.
Yes, ma'am. I think you've given me the record for the longest show on my channel. So
I'm embarrassed.
We covered and we talked about a lot. So we kind of freestyled. It wasn't like a one objective thing. We covered a lot of things. Exactly. I want to end on the note of, have you always wanted to be a mother? Because it seems like so many people navigate to you and they can meet you for the first time and they automatically start calling you Mother Cleo. Have you figured out what that dynamic is? Like, have you figured out what it is about you that draws people to you as that motherly figure?
Nope. Because I don't try to be a mother to them. You know, I think it's just some people have said it's just the hug, or it's just the wisdom, or I don't know. It's just being in your presence. I'll be shocked sometimes when they say Mama Cleo or whatever the case is, and I'm happy. I embrace it. You know, I've had some people, even you, Candace, they said, you can't be everybody's mother. And I said, I'll never stop anybody from calling me their mother.
Robert said, yes, Mom.
Yeah, it's just, it's a matter of, that's why I got the title of apostleship, because they said I have a mothering type of ministry, a mothering type of personality. You embrace people and you love them where they are, and that's a part of the apostle's job. You know, whether it be mother or whether it be father, when you have that type of ministry, that's just what it is. They gravitate to you, they'll navigate to you, and they just come, and you don't turn them away. When the navigation system tell you which way to go, in spite of what your daddy say, sometimes you got to follow. You've got to follow it because they're giving you the quickest way to get there. So I think because I give people the fastest way to get to the solution for the problem is what keeps them coming back, and is what embraced me as why they embrace me as a mother figure, I think.
Yeah, your niece Keisha said, when you got it, you got it. And Shell said, natural mama, Lord, them hugs healing now.
Yeah. That's what she always say, those hugs.
Yep. The hug, the smell, how do you say when you rub your back and you try not to cry, you just rub the cry out of it.
I got to bring, that brings about a healing. Come on, let it out.
Yeah,
let it out. Let's cry together. You might not see my tears, but I'm crying with you.
She's crying inside.
And I think they feel that because it's more of a home thing, or I can really feel that she's crying or she's loving me out of my issue.
Right.
You know? And so sometimes I'm drained, you know, like who just pulls from me, you know, not even trying, but it happens.
Yeah. Jerome said that you allow people to walk their path.
Yeah. Be yourself. Thank you, son. Thank you, daughters. Thank you, nieces and nephews.
Yes, cousins.
Oh, yeah.
I said cousins.
Yeah.
All y'all.
All them. All right.
Well, Mom, this has been great. I thank you so much for accepting my invitation and for just having the talk. And hopefully this has been beneficial and healing to people by us sharing our experiences together. And as your oldest, thank you for being hard on me, because your hardness has has given me the willpower to take on thousands of things at one time and still figure out a way how to make it all happen. So thank you.
Peace and blessings. You are welcome. Thank you for choosing me to be your mama. Amen. And
amen.
I wish you peace and blessings. Y'all continue to strive high, and I'm looking forward to the things that God has prepared, working through us, in us, as us, for us.
Yes.
I
stay.
My day.
Yep. Let's say the mantra. I see God.
I see God.
Multiply back to me all
of the money that I've used, give, or circulate in any way, in a never-ending cycle of increase,
and enjoyment.
All right.
And that money can be exchanged for love, currency, for whatever it is that you're giving.
Yeah.
You can replace the word money with that mantra.
Exactly. Health, wealth, peace, blessings, all that.
And one more thing, I want to say thank you to our Buddhist monk, my friend and co-worker brother, Daily, because him teaching us the art of meditation from the Buddhist standpoint was a real eye-opener, game changer for our family as well. So Thank you, Dana. He's not really on social media, but somebody will see it and tell him about it.
He has been a major, major, major blessing to me. And I'm grateful, eternally grateful for him. Definitely. Even during the time he has offered to help, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm grateful for what I already know. And I took what he already taught me and continue to live it on a daily basis. It's a lifestyle to me now. It's not something that I practice just when I go and meet up with him. It's something that I live on a daily basis.
Yep. So if you want to catch her on Sunday mornings at 11:15 a.m., then make sure that you are her friend and that you have her alert set. Cleo Pringle on Facebook. And Love and Helping Hands Spiritual Center is the center's business page. So make sure you like and follow there as well.
Exactly. All right.
And our website is lahhsc.org for the center. You can visit there. And the Cash app is LAHHSC, the $ in front, if you ever wanted to sow a seed into the ministry, the Spiritual Center.
Yes. And our ministry, even though during this pandemic, keep looking, because we get ready to do some great, great things.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Once again, we love you. We appreciate you. And it's been an honor and a pleasure sitting down with you on this evening.
Thank you for seeing fit to put me on the show. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it a whole. All right.
Awesome. So it's your girl, Candace, signing off for South Carolina by Black Locally, and the lovely Apostle Cleo Pringle signing off for Love and Helping Hands Spiritual Center. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
SCBBL show. Rock on. Rock.